Israeli soldiers had withdrawn. Now at last we could find out the cause of those explosions we'd heard. Had the Israelis found the Hamas gunmen? And if so, how had they responded?
خليك تفضل الصحفية ولا الأمريكان يتفرجوا. خربت ديالنا، خربت ديالنا، خربت ديالنا. مش هيك؟ خلي الدور خربت. صور يا صحفية، صور صور يلا، خليه يصور يا مرة ابن عمي. خليهم يصوروا. خربت ديال الحارة، خربت ديالنا.
Oh, my Lord, my sins are like the highest mountain. My good deeds are very few, they're like a small pebble. I turn to you, my heart full of shame, my eyes full of tears. Bestow your forgiveness and mercy upon me.
Israelis keep saying that they are not targeting civilians, they are targeting Hamas. From your point of view as a foreigner, how can you answer this question?
I would say it's a stupid, it's an absolutely stupid statement. We know among all the hundreds we have seen so far, we have seen 2 fighters. The statistics are clear. Among the 2,500 injured, 45% are women and children. And then there are also all the civilian men. So the large majority of the injured, the victims, are women, men and children, civilian. Among the killed, 25% of the killed are children and women. And among the children, today, this morning, it was 801 children either killed or injured. 101 children have been killed. So these numbers are contradictory to everything the Israelis.
Is there enough supplies in the hospital to treat all of these high numbers of casualties?
No, it is not. And I ask, where is the international community who has this big organization to come to disasters? We are 2 doctors from the West. Where are the others? They are not let in because the Israelis say there is no disaster. Now, how can they know? They never came here. They never saw. They don't care. So this is the worst man-made disaster for the time I can think.
Doctor, the last question. For how long do you think this hospital can survive without medication?
Not very long. People are dying now because of lack of supplies. We have all operating rooms are full. Yesterday we were operating 2 patients in 1 operating room. The patients have to wait a long time for surgery, and they are dying waiting for surgery. So this is a complete disaster.
According to a new study, Israel's education curricula aim at psychologically immobilizing youngsters for war. In her book Racist Education in Israeli Curricula, Abdel Al said, Israel has been mobilizing youngsters to be ready to give sacrifices on war, as did the first Zionist generation to regain what they believed their legitimate rights.
We want to see it in our own eyes, not from television point of view. They chose Hamas to rule them. It's their fault. They got it to where it is now, not us.
But don't you think it'll get worse by bombing them?
No, I think that's the only solution. I think they should just clear off all the city. Just take it off the ground. Yes, I'm a little bit fascist.
Welcome back to Hardball. We're back with the 39th President of the United States, Jimmy Carter. His new book is called Palestine, Peace, Not Apartheid. And President Carter, why did you use the word apartheid in the book's title?
Well, let's look at the entire title, if you don't mind. The first word is Palestine, which involves the land that belongs to the Palestinians, not the Israelis. I didn't refer to Israel because there's no semblance of anything relating to apartheid within the nation of Israel. And I also emphasized the word not, that is peace and not apartheid. That's what I hope to accomplish with this book, is some move toward that goal. But there's no doubt that within the occupied territories, Palestinian land, that there is a horrendous example of apartheid. The occupation of Palestinian land, the confiscation of that land that doesn't belong to Israel, the building of settlements on it, the colonization of that land, and then the connection of those isolated but multiple settlements, more than 200 of them, with each other by highways on which Palestinians can't travel, and quite often where Palestinians cannot even cross. So the persecution of the Palestinians now under the occupied territories, under the occupation forces, is one of the worst examples of human rights deprivation that I know. And I think
even worse, though, than a place like Rwanda?
Yes, I think, yes. You mean now?
Yes.
I
think the impression now of the Israelis, of the Palestinians by the Israelis, is worse than a situation in Africa like the oppression of Rwandans and the Civil War.
I'm not going back into ancient history about Rwanda, but right now, the persecution of the Palestinians is one of the worst examples of human rights abuse I know, because the Palestinians...
You're talking about right now. You're not talking about, say,
I'm not talking about ancient history. Ago. No.
Well, Rwanda wasn't ancient history. It was just a few years ago.
You could talk about Rwanda if you want to. I want to talk about Palestine. What is being done to the Palestinians now is horrendous in their own territory by the occupying powers, which is Israel. They've taken away all the basic human rights of the Palestinians, as was done in South Africa against the blacks. And I make it very plain in this book that the apartheid is not based on racism, as it was in South Africa, but it's based on the desire of a minority of Israelis to acquire land that belongs to the Palestinians and to retain that land, and then to exclude the Palestinians from their own property and subjugate them so that they can't arouse and demonstrate their disapproval of being robbed of their own property. That's what's happening in the West Bank. And the people in this country, in America, never know about this. They never discuss this. There's no debate about it. There's no criticism of Israel in this country.
The chair will entertain up to 15 requests for 1-minute speeches on each side of the aisle. For what purpose does the gentleman from Ohio rise?
Madam Speaker, I request permission to address the House and to revise consent.
Without objection, the gentleman from Ohio is recognized for 1 minute.
We cannot truly celebrate a new year, a new Congress, and a new administration if all we see is the same old destruction in the Middle East, with U.S. weapons being illegally used to kill children. I oppose Hamas's rocket attacks on Israel. The rocket attacks, even to try to end the blockade, have no moral justification, are illegal, and must stop. But how can Israel claim self-defense when it bombs Gaza, which has no army, no air force, no navy, and has been under a constant blockade? How can Israel claim self-defense when its bombs destroy UN schools, killing children? The children of Palestinians and the children of Israel both deserve life. But the lives of the children of Gaza are cynically discounted as human shields. Massacres are being rationalized. Israel's moral high ground in Gaza, a growing pile of small bones in a graveyard. The administration knows Israel is using U.S. weapons paid for by U.S. taxpayers with disproportionate force, creating a collective punishment of Gazans, assuring an escalation of conflict, clear violations of the Arms Export Control Act. Israel was given U.S. weapons on condition they could not be used for aggression or escalation. This outgoing administration must finally stand for the rule of law, not the rule of force.
Gentleman's time has expired.
So is Canada really supporting the right side in the Arab-Israeli conflict? So you know, the Gaza government, the Hamas, were democratically elected, and its charter clearly states that the organization's goal is to rise the banner of Allah over every inch of Palestine, for under the wing of Islam followers of all religions can coexist in security and safety where their lives, possessions, and rights are concerned. Hamas leaders told former President Jimmy Carter they are prepared to accept the 1967 borders of Israel. We have offered a truce if Israel withdraws to the 1967 borders, a truce of 10 years as proof of recognition.